The ice storm hit without warning. One moment I was hauling fuel cells across the frozen plateau, the next I was face down in snow so thick I couldn't see my own hands. The wind screamed like something alive and furious. My envirosuit's heater whined, struggling against temperatures that shouldn't exist on a colonized moon. The distress beacon on my wrist flashed red. No signal. The relay station was gone, buried or blown away. I stumbled forward, hoping I was moving towards shelter and not deeper into the wastes. My boots broke through ice with every step. The cold found gaps in my suit, needle-sharp and merciless. I'd been a maintenance tech on Kessel 4 for 8 months. Long enough to know this storm was different. Long enough to know I was already dead if I didn't find cover in the next 10 minutes. Something dark materialized ahead. A structure, half buried in snow. Not human design. The walls curved like ribs, smooth and organic. Kesteri architecture. The native species avoided this region, called it cursed ground. Right now I didn't care about curses. The entrance had no door, just a membrane that parted at my touch, warm and disturbingly flesh-like. Inside, the wind's howl dropped to a whisper. Bioluminescent panels pulsed along the walls, casting everything in soft amber light. The temperature was survivable, barely. My suit's readings showed 20 degrees below zero, but without the wind it felt like a sauna. I collapsed against the nearest wall and tried to think. The storm would last hours, maybe days. My suit's power would die long before then. Already my fingers felt thick and clumsy. Hypothermia's early stages. A sound froze me in place. Breathing. Slow, rhythmic, coming from deeper in the structure. I wasn't alone. Every survival instinct screamed at me to leave, storm or no storm. But my legs wouldn't move. The cold had settled into my bones. I managed to drag myself forward, following the sound around a curved corridor. The chamber beyond was larger, warmer. And occupied. She lay on a raised platform, her body coiled in on itself. Kesteri. Even half frozen, I recognized the species. 7 feet tall when standing, covered in chitinous plates that shifted between deep blue and black. Forearms currently tucked close to her body. A face that was almost human in its structure, but with eyes too large and features too sharp. Beautiful in an alien, unsettling way. She wasn't moving. Her chest barely rose and fell. I should have left. Every protocol, every regulation said to avoid contact with Kesteri outside official channels. They were allies technically, but distant ones. Their culture was complex, filled with rules I didn't understand. But she was dying. I could see it in the way her plates had lost their luster, in the shallow breathing, in the frost forming on her skin. The same frost forming on mine. I checked her body temperature with my suit's scanner. Kesteri were cold-blooded, reliant on external heat sources. The structure's heating system must have failed. She'd gone dormant to conserve energy, but she was fading. Another few hours and she'd be gone. My suit had maybe 3 hours of power left. Enough to keep me alive, but not both of us. I made a decision that probably violated a dozen interspecies contact laws. I climbed onto the platform beside her and pressed close. My suit was still generating heat. Not much, but maybe enough. I wrapped my arms around her, trying to share what warmth I had left. Her body was cold as metal, her plates hard against my chest. For long minutes, nothing happened. I felt my own heat leaching away, pulled into her body like water into sand. My suit's heater groaned, working overtime. Then she moved. Just a slight shift, her body uncurling enough to wrap around me. One of her forearms draped across my back. The gesture felt instinctive, automatic. Seeking heat. "It's okay," I whispered, though she was probably too far gone to hear. "I've got you." Her plates began to warm, slowly at first, then faster as her metabolism woke. The heat she'd absorbed from me was jump-starting her system. I felt her breathing deepen, strengthen. My suit's battery hit critical. The heater died with a sputter. The cold rushed in immediately, vicious and final. But she was warm now. Getting warmer. Her body generated heat as it came back online, some biological process I didn't understand. That heat radiated back to me, slow but steady. We lay there tangled together, sharing warmth, sharing survival. Her breathing steadied. Mine did too. I must have passed out because when I woke, the chamber was brighter. The storm's howl had faded to distant wind. And she was awake, watching me with eyes like polished obsidian. "You saved my life," she said in perfect English, her voice like wind through crystal. "Why?" I tried to answer, but my throat was too dry. She reached out with one hand, touched my face. Her fingers were gentle, curious. "What is your name, human?" "Marcus," I managed. "Marcus-chan. I am SHVera." She tilted her head, studying me. "You gave your heat freely. This is not a small thing among my people. Such an act creates bonds. Obligations." I didn't know what that meant. Didn't have the energy to ask. My body was screaming for sleep. "Rest," she said, and pulled me closer against her warm body. "I will watch over you now, as you watched over me." I drifted off, feeling safer than I had any right to. When I woke again, the storm was over. SHVera helped me to my feet, steady and strong. My suit was dead, but the cold no longer mattered. The structure's heating had reactivated, responding to her presence. "I must return to the colony," I said. "They'll think I'm dead." "Yes." "And I must return to my people." She hesitated, one hand still on my arm. "But first, there are things you should understand about what happened here. We kept each other alive. That's all." Her expression shifted, something that might have been amusement. Among my kind, when two share warmth in darkness, when one gives freely of their life heat to preserve another, it is not a small thing. It is a declaration. A declaration of what? Intent. Bond. Among Kesteri, such an act can only occur between those who choose each other. As family? As warriors? As... She trailed off, clearly searching for the right word. "As partners," she finally said. "What you might call mates." My brain stuttered to a halt. I didn't know. I just wanted to help. "I understand this. You acted from kindness, not knowledge of our ways. But my people will not see it so simply." She stepped back, all four arms moving in a gesture I couldn't read. "When I return, I must report what happened. The sharing of life heat creates bonds recognized by our laws. You have, by your actions, made a claim. Whether you knew it or not." I didn't claim anything. I was trying not to die. "I know. And I will explain this. But, Marcus..." She moved closer again, her eyes intense. "My position among my people is not simple. I am of the royal bloodline. What you did, saving me, binding yourself to me through the heat sharing, it will have consequences. For both of us." My mouth went dry. "Royal bloodline. You're telling me you're third daughter of the Kesteri sovereign court?" "Yes. I'd accidentally maybe married an alien princess by trying not to freeze to death." Before I could process that, a sound echoed through the structure. Voices. Multiple. Speaking in the clicking, musical language of the Kesteri. SHVera's entire body went rigid. "They found us. My guard. They tracked my emergency beacon. That's good, right? You're rescued." "Yes." "But Marcus, they will have questions. About you. About what happened. Please, say nothing about the heat sharing." "Not yet. Let me explain to my mother first. Protocol must be observed." Footsteps approached, fast and purposeful. SHVera moved to stand between me and the entrance, all four arms spread in a protective stance. 3 Kesteri entered, clad in armor that seemed to flow like liquid metal. They stopped cold when they saw me. Their hands went to weapons I hadn't noticed. The tallest stepped forward, speaking rapid Kesteri. SHVera answered in the same language, her tone calm but firm. The guard's eyes never left me. Their body language screamed threat assessment. SHY said something sharp. The guard responded, gesturing at me. They want to take you into custody, SHY said quietly in English. For questioning about what happened. Standard protocol when a royal is found with an unknown individual. I'll go. I'll explain everything. No. Her voice carried absolute authority. You will stay close to me. Under my protection. This is within my rights. The guard leader spoke again, longer this time. Their tone was respectful but insistent. SHY's response was short. Final. The guard went very still. All three of them. They stared at SHY, then at me, then back at SHY. One of them spoke, their voice barely above a whisper. SHY answered with a single word. The chamber went absolutely silent. The guard leader slowly lowered to one knee. The others followed. They placed their right hands over their hearts in a gesture I'd seen once before, during a formal diplomatic ceremony. What did you tell them? I asked. SHY didn't look at me. Her voice was quiet, almost resigned. The truth. That you gave your life heat to preserve mine. That we survived the storm together. That you held me through the dark. And they asked if you understood what that meant. If you had claimed me deliberately. My heart hammered. What did you say? I said that you are human, that you acted from kindness, not knowledge. But that I accept the bond regardless of intent. That I claim you in return. The guards remained kneeling. Waiting. SHY, you didn't have to, yes, she said firmly. I did. Because if I denied the bond, you would be seen as someone who violated protocol. Someone who touched a royal without permission. The punishment for that is severe. This way you are protected. Under my claim. Under my house. I stood there, wrapped in a dead enviro suit, in an alien structure, while 3 armed guards knelt before me like I was something important. We need to go, SHY said. Now. Before word spreads. My mother will want to see us both. Immediately. She held out one hand. I took it. Her skin was warm, her grip strong. The guards rose and formed a protective circle around us as we left the structure. Outside, the world was buried in white. The storm had passed, but its legacy remained. 3 sleek aircraft waited, their hulls steaming in the cold. We climbed into the largest. The interior was designed for Casteri, everything slightly too tall and angular for human comfort. I sat where SHY indicated, and she settled beside me. The guard leader spoke from the pilot's position. SHY answered. We lifted off. Through the viewport, I watched the frozen landscape fall away. In the distance, I could see the human colony, its lights tiny against the snow. My home for 8 months. It felt very far away now. What happens when we reach your people? I asked. You will meet my mother, Queen SHY. She will want to understand what happened. She will test you, to see if you are worthy of the bond you have created. And if I'm not? SHY was quiet for a long moment. Then, the bond will be dissolved. You will be returned to your people. We will never speak again. And I will be bound to another, as my mother chooses. Something in her voice made me look closer. She was staring out the viewport, her expression carefully neutral. You don't want that, I said quietly. What I want is irrelevant. I am royal. My bonds serve the people, not myself. But I am tired of bonds made for politics and power. She turned to face me, and for the first time I saw something vulnerable in those alien eyes. You held me in the dark, Marcus Chin. You gave your heat freely, expecting nothing. Knowing nothing. That is not something I have known before. Before I could respond, the guard called out. SHY straightened, all vulnerability vanishing behind a mask of royal composure. We have arrived, she said. Remember. Say nothing unless asked directly. Be honest. Be respectful. And do not show fear. My mother respects strength. The aircraft descended towards something massive and gleaming, a structure that seemed to grow from the moon's surface like a crystal tree. The Kestari capital. We landed on a platform high above the ground. The moment the door opened, I felt eyes on us. Dozens of Kestari stood in formation, their attention absolute. SHY stepped out first. I followed, trying to look confident despite wearing a dead envirosuit and facing an alien civilization I barely understood. The Kestari parted, forming a corridor. At its end stood a figure that could only be the Queen. She was taller than SHY, her plates darker, almost black. She wore armor that seemed to be made of living metal, flowing across her body like water. Her forearms were decorated with markings I couldn't read. Her face was beautiful and terrible, ageless and ancient. She did not speak. She simply watched as we approached. We stopped 3 paces away. SHY lowered her head in respect. I wasn't sure what to do, so I bowed. The Queen studied me for what felt like an eternity. Then she spoke, her voice carrying across the platform. SHY answered in Kestari. A conversation followed back and forth, too fast for me to track. Other voices joined in, advisors or nobles, I couldn't tell. Then, the Queen switched to English. Her accent was perfect. You are Marcus Chin. Maintenance technician. Human. 8 months on our moon. Yes, Your Majesty. You found my daughter in the old structure. She was dying. Yes. And you shared your heat to preserve her life. Knowing this would bind you together under our law. I didn't know about the law. I just wanted to help. Silence. The Queen's eyes narrowed. You claim ignorance. I claim truth. Where I come from, you don't let people die if you can help them. That's all I did. Someone in the crowd hissed. The Queen raised one hand and the sound stopped instantly. My daughter says you held her through the dark. That you called her by name. That you spoke with gentleness. I glanced at SHY. She kept her eyes forward, her expression unreadable. I did. And when you woke and learned her status, you tried to leave. To return to your people. Yes. I didn't want to cause problems. Yet here you stand, bound to royal blood, whether by accident or design. The Queen stepped closer. Tell me, Marcus Chin. If I dissolved this bond now, if I returned you to your colony and forbade you from seeing my daughter again, what would you say? The honest answer came before I could stop it. I'd say that's your right, Your Majesty. But I'd also say your daughter deserves better than political marriages. She deserves someone who chose her for who she is, not what she represents. The entire platform went dead silent. The Queen stared at me. Then, slowly, something changed in her expression. Not quite a smile. Something sharper. You are bold. Foolish, perhaps. But bold. She turned to SHY. Daughter. Do you accept this bond? Knowing it was formed in ignorance? Knowing this human cannot understand our ways? SHY lifted her head. I accept it. Fully. Freely. As is my right. Then, it will be tested. According to our law. The Queen's gaze swept the assembled crowd. 3 trials. 3 days. If Marcus Chin survives with honor, the bond will be recognized. If he fails, it dissolves and he returns to his people. If he refuses the trials, the same. She looked back at me. Do you accept these terms? I had no idea what the trials involved. But I looked at SHY, at the hope hidden behind her careful mask, and knew my answer. I accept. The Queen nodded once. Then, it begins tomorrow. Tonight you will be housed in the royal quarter. SHY will explain what is to come. She turned and walked away, her guards following. The crowd dispersed, leaving us alone on the platform. I'm sorry, SHY said quietly. I did not expect this. The trials are dangerous? Revealing. They will show who you truly are. What you value. Whether you can stand beside me not just in survival, but in life. She took my hand carefully, her touch warm. I will help you prepare. Teach you what I can. But the trials must be faced alone. Then, I'll face them. You don't understand what you've agreed to. Maybe not. But I understand that you saved my life by accepting this bond. That you protected me when you didn't have to. So I'll try to be worthy of that. However I can. For the first time since we'd left the structure, SHY smiled. It transformed her face, made her look younger, less burdened. Come, she said. We have much to discuss and little time. The first trial begins at dawn. She led me into the crystal structure, into a world I didn't understand, toward trials I couldn't imagine. But her hand was warm in mine, and somehow that was enough. Whatever came next, we'd face it together. The royal quarters were nothing like I expected. Instead of cold stone and formal halls, the rooms were warm and filled with soft light. The walls pulsed with bioluminescence, creating patterns that shifted like slow waves. Furniture adapted to whoever sat in it, flowing and reshaping. SHY dismissed the guards at the door and sealed it behind us. In the privacy of her chambers, her formal posture finally relaxed. You must be hungry, she said. Humans require frequent feeding, yes? I could eat. She touched a panel on the wall. Within minutes, servants arrived with trays of food. Some I recognized from the colony commissary, others completely alien. They set everything on a low table and vanished without a word. They brought human food, I said, surprised. I sent word ahead. You are my responsibility now. Your needs matter. She settled onto a seat across from me, watching as I ate. Tomorrow begins the first trial. The trial of truth. What does that mean? You will be questioned by the Council of Mothers. They are the eldest of our people, keepers of law and custom. They will ask about your past, your intentions, your character. Every answer will be measured against our understanding of honor. I swallowed hard. And if they don't like my answers? Then the bond dissolves and you go home. She leaned forward, her eyes intense. Marcus, they will try to provoke you. To make you angry or defensive. To see if you can maintain composure under pressure. This is crucial. Among my people, the ability to control emotion is highly valued. Especially in those who would join the royal family. I'm not naturally calm. I work with machines, not politics. I know. But you must try. Answer honestly but carefully. Show respect without weakness. The mothers respect strength, but they despise arrogance. We spend hours going over potential questions, practicing responses, discussing Kestari culture and customs. By the time SHY finally let me rest, my head was spinning with information I had no hope of fully retaining. She showed me to a sleeping chamber attached to her quarters. The bed adapted to my body the moment I lay down, perfectly comfortable despite its alien design. Sleep well, Marcus, she said from the doorway. Tomorrow determines everything. Dawn came too quickly. SHY woke me with gentle efficiency and helped me into formal clothing that had been prepared overnight. The garments were human-styled but made from Kestari materials, comfortable and perfectly fitted. How do I look? I asked. Like someone trying very hard not to be terrified. That's accurate. She touched my face with one hand, the gesture surprisingly intimate. Be yourself. That is all you can do. All I ask? 2 guards escorted us through the crystal structure to a chamber deep in its heart. The room was circular, with seats arranged in tiers rising up toward a domed ceiling. At the center was a single chair. For me, obviously. 12 Kestari sat in the upper tiers. All female, all ancient. Their plates had faded to gray, and their eyes held the weight of centuries. The Council of Mothers. SHY guided me to the center chair and then retreated to stand with the guards. I was alone. The eldest mother spoke first, her voice dry as wind over stone. Marcus Chin. You stand before us bound to royal blood through the sharing of life heat. This bond is not trivial. It carries weight and consequence. Do you understand this? I'm beginning to, yes. Beginning. But not fully. Another mother leaned forward. Tell us, human. Why did you save SH Vera? What did you hope to gain? I wasn't thinking about gain. She was dying. I could help. So I did. Noble words. But we have seen many who speak nobility and act from greed. What is it you truly want from this bond? I took a breath, remembering SH Vera's coaching. Stay calm. Be honest. I don't want anything except to know I did the right thing. When I found her, I didn't know who she was. I just saw someone who needed help. That's all. A third mother spoke, her tone sharp. You expect us to believe you held a royal daughter through the night, shared your life heat, bound yourself to her under our law, and wanted nothing? No reward? No status? No political gain? I expect you to believe the truth. I'm a maintenance tech. I fix environmental systems and haul supplies. I don't know anything about politics or status. I just know that letting someone die when you can save them is wrong. And if we dissolve this bond? If we send you back to your colony and forbid contact with SH Vera? Would you accept this? The question hit harder than I expected. I glanced at SH Vera. She stood perfectly still, her face unreadable. But her hands were clenched, all four of them. If that's your decision, I'll accept it. But I'd regret it. Not because of status or politics. Because in the time I've known her, SH Vera has shown me more honor and kindness than I probably deserve. And I think she deserves someone who sees that. Who values it. Silence filled the chamber. The mothers looked at each other, some communication passing between them that I couldn't read. The eldest spoke again. You claim to value honor. Yet you are human. Your people are known for breaking bonds when convenient. For valuing individual desire over collective good. Why should we believe you are different? I can't speak for all humans. I can only speak for myself. And I was raised to believe that your word matters. That when you commit to something, you see it through. My parents taught me that. The military reinforced it. And 8 months alone on a frozen moon reminded me of it. You served in your military? 4 years. Engineering Corps. I fixed ships and stations that other people risked their lives on. I learned that doing your job right, keeping your word, it matters. It saves lives. Another mother spoke. And yet you left military service. Why? Because after 4 years, I'd seen enough of war. I wanted to build instead of repair damage. I wanted to help people survive, not fight. Noble. Or cowardly. The accusation stung, but I kept my voice level. Maybe both. I don't claim to be brave. But I know the difference between running from responsibility and choosing a different path. I fulfilled my contract. I left honorably. I chose to work in colony support because it matters. People live or die based on whether the life support works, whether the heaters stay on, whether someone notices the small problems before they become fatal. That's not cowardly. That's necessary. The mothers fell silent again. This time the pause stretched longer. Finally, the eldest stood. The others followed. Marcus Chin. You have answered with honesty. Whether wisdom, time will tell. The first trial is complete. The council acknowledges your words. She turned to SH Vera. Daughter. Do you wish to continue? I do. Then, tomorrow brings the second trial. The trial of strength. Be prepared. They filed out, leaving me alone with SH Vera and the guards. The moment the door sealed, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. How did I do? Well enough. They did not reject you outright. SH Vera approached, her expression cautiously optimistic. But the second trial will be harder. The trial of strength tests not just physical capability, but will and determination. What exactly does that involve? Combat. Against trained warriors. You must prove you can stand beside me not just in comfort, but in conflict. My stomach dropped. I'm not a fighter. I mean, I had basic training, but that was years ago. And I was never good at it. I know. But the trial is not about winning. It is about showing courage, resilience, the willingness to stand when standing is hard. She took both my hands in two of hers. I will help you prepare. We have until dawn. We spent the rest of the day in a training chamber. SHY taught me the basics of Kestari combat, which relied heavily on speed and leverage rather than strength. With 4 arms, they had advantages I couldn't match. But she showed me how to compensate, how to use my lower center of gravity, how to anticipate and react. I was terrible at it. But I tried. Again and again. Until my body ached and my mind was numb with exhaustion. Enough, SHY finally said. You need rest. I need to be better. You need to be alive. Rest now. Tomorrow, remember what I taught you. But more importantly, remember why you are doing this. She helped me back to the quarters and personally tended to my bruises with some kind of healing salve that worked unnervingly fast. Her touch was gentle, careful. Why are you helping me so much? I asked. You could just let the trials play out. See if I survive on my own. Because you gave your heat freely in the dark. Because you saw me not as a princess but as someone who needed help. Because in all my years, no one has ever looked at me the way you do. How do I look at you? Like I am SHY. Not a title. Not a tool for alliance. Just myself. She finished with the salve and sat back. That is rare. Precious. Worth fighting for. Sleep came harder that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw combat scenarios, imagined failures, pictured myself broken and defeated. But I also saw SHY's face. The hope in her eyes. The trust. I couldn't let her down. Dawn came with the sound of drums. Deep, resonant, echoing through the structure. SHY was already awake, dressed in formal armor. It is time, she said. The combat arena was larger than the council chamber, open to the sky. Hundreds of Kestari filled the stands, watching in absolute silence. At the center of the arena stood 3 warriors in full armor, their weapons gleaming. The queen sat in a high seat, her expression unreadable. SHY walked me to the arena's edge. 3 opponents. Each one represents an aspect of strength. Physical, mental, emotional. You must face all 3. You do not need to defeat them. You only need to show that you will not break. That you will stand. What if I do break? Then I will catch you. As you caught me in the dark. She touched my face. Go. Show them who Marcus Chin truly is. I stepped into the arena. The first warrior approached, massive and imposing. They carried a training weapon, blunted but still capable of serious damage. The drums stopped. Silence fell. The warrior attacked without warning. Fast, brutal, overwhelming. I barely managed to dodge, using the techniques SHY had taught me. Block, deflect, move. Don't stand still. Don't try to match strength. The warrior's weapon caught me across the ribs. Pain exploded through my chest. I went down, tasted blood. The crowd remained silent. I got up. The warrior attacked again. This time I was ready. I ducked under their swing, rolled to the side, came up moving. Not fighting back. Just surviving. The pattern repeated. Strike, fall, rise. Strike, fall, rise. My body screamed. My vision blurred. But I kept getting up. Finally, the warrior stepped back. They inclined their heads slightly. Respect, maybe? Or pity? The second warrior approached. Smaller, faster. They didn't attack physically. Instead, they spoke. In English. You are weak. Unworthy. A burden to the one you claim to protect. Words as weapons. Meant to break me mentally. Maybe, I said, blood on my lips. But I'm still standing. For now. But you will fail. She will see your weakness. She will regret this bond. That's for her to decide. Not you. You are nothing. A human. Soft. Fragile. Temporary. She is eternal. Royal. What can you possibly offer her? Honestly? I don't know. But I can offer her someone who chose her freely. Who wanted nothing except to help. Maybe that's worth something. Maybe it's not. But it's all I have. The warrior went silent. They studied me for a long moment, then stepped back. The third warrior approached. They carried no weapon. They simply stood before me and spoke in Kesteri. SHVera called out a translation. They ask what you fear most. I thought about lying. Saying something noble. But SHVera had told me truth mattered. Failing her. Letting her down. Making her regret protecting me. The warrior spoke again. They ask what you would sacrifice for this bond. Whatever is necessary. Within reason. I won't compromise who I am. But I'll fight for her. Stand with her. Be whatever she needs me to be. The warrior reached out with one hand. I took it. They pulled me upright, supporting my weight. They spoke once more, directly to the queen. The queen stood. The entire arena fell into perfect silence. She descended from her seat and crossed the arena floor. When she reached me, she studied my face, my bloodied form, my defiant stance despite everything. Marcuschen, you have faced the trial of strength. You did not win. You barely survived. Yet you stood. Again and again. This is noted. She turned to address the crowd. Tomorrow comes the final trial. The trial of bond. It will determine the truth of what has been claimed here. Whether this human is worthy to stand beside my daughter. Whether their bond is real or merely accident. She looked back at me. Rest. Heal. Tomorrow determines everything. SHVera was at my side the moment the queen departed. She supported me as we left the arena, her touch gentle but worried. You were magnificent, she said quietly. I got my ass kicked. You refused to stay down. That is what mattered. Back in her quarters, she tended to my injuries properly. The healing salve worked its magic again, though the pain lingered as a reminder. What's the final trial? I asked. The trial of bond tests whether the connection between us is genuine. Whether it can survive scrutiny and pressure. You and I will be separated and questioned independently. Our answers must align not through rehearsal but through true understanding. If the council believes we are merely performing, the bond fails. So they want to see if we actually know each other. Care about each other. Yes. And more? They will ask about the future. About how we plan to navigate the complications of a human bonded to Kesteri royalty. About children, politics, lifespan differences. Everything that makes this bond difficult. Children? I hadn't even thought. Our species are not biologically compatible for reproduction. But we have technologies. Options. These will be discussed. She sat beside me, her expression troubled. Marcus, this trial will reveal everything. Our hopes, our fears, our doubts. There is no hiding. If you have reservations about this bond, about me, they will be exposed. Do you have doubts? I asked. I have concerns. You are human. Your life will be shorter than mine, even with medical intervention. You come from a culture I barely understand. You know little of my people, my responsibilities. This bond will be complicated. Difficult. Perhaps impossible. But you accepted it anyway. Why? She was quiet for a long time. Because in the dark, when I was dying, you held me and spoke with kindness. Because you gave your heat freely. Because when you learned who I was, you thought first of my freedom, not your gain. Because you looked at me and saw SHVera, not a princess. That is worth any complication. I took her hand. Then, we face tomorrow together. Whatever they ask, I'll answer honestly. About my doubts, my fears, all of it. Because you deserve truth. As do you. We sat in comfortable silence, hands joined, until exhaustion pulled me towards sleep. SHVera helped me to the sleeping chamber. Tomorrow, she said from the doorway, everything changes. One way or another. I know. Marcus? She hesitated. Thank you? For trying. For standing. For being here. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. She smiled, sad and hopeful at once, and left me to rest. The final dawn came quietly. No drums, no ceremony. Just soft light filtering through crystal walls. SHY was already gone when I woke. A guard waited outside, silent and professional. They escorted me through corridors I didn't recognize to a small chamber with a single seat. The council of mothers waited, arranged in a semicircle. The queen sat among them, no longer separate but part of the whole. Marcus Chin, the eldest mother said. The final trial begins. You will answer our questions. SHY answers the same questions in another chamber. We will compare. Any significant deviation, any dishonesty, ends the bond. Do you understand? I understand. Then we begin. Tell us, in your own words, why you want this bond with SHY. I took a breath. Honestly? I'm not sure I do want it. Not in the way you probably mean. I didn't plan this. I didn't choose it knowing what it meant. But I chose SHY. I chose to help her when she needed it. And now that I know her, now that I've seen who she is beyond the title, I want to keep choosing her. Every day. That's the bond one want. You admit uncertainty. I admit honesty. This is all new to me. Your culture, your people, your laws. I'm making it up as I go. But I'm trying to do right by her. That's all I know how to do. Another mother spoke. Your species lives shorter lives than ours. SHY may have centuries ahead of her. You have decades at best. How do you reconcile this? I don't. Not completely. It's a problem without a good answer. But I'd rather have decades with her than centuries without her. And I hope she'd say the same. Children. Your species cannot naturally reproduce with ours. This matter to you? I don't know. I haven't thought about children. But if she wants them, we'll find a way. If she doesn't, that's fine too. What matters is that we decide together. Your work. Your life. You would abandon your colony? Your people? I don't see it as abandoning. I see it as choosing a new path. My skills translate. I can help here, maintain your systems, contribute. I don't have to stop being useful just because I'm with her. The questions continued. Hours of them. About politics, culture, intimacy, conflict, compromise. About what I hoped for, feared, expected. About what I would sacrifice and what I would never compromise. I answered everything honestly. Sometimes uncertainly. Sometimes with more confidence than I felt. But always truthfully. Finally, the eldest mother raised her hand. Enough. We have heard your words. Now we will compare them to SHY's. They conferred among themselves, speaking in rapid Castari. The queen listened but did not participate. Time stretched. I tried not to fidget. The eldest mother finally turned back to me. Marcus Chin. Your answers align with SHY's in all significant ways. You both speak of uncertainty. Of hope. Of choosing each other despite complications. This consistency suggests genuine bond. Relief flooded through me. However, she continued, and my heart sank. There remains one final question. One test. The queen will ask it. You must answer in SHY's presence. As must she. The door opened. Guards led SHY in. She looked as exhausted as I felt. When she saw me, something in her expression softened. We were positioned facing each other, the council between us. The queen stood. My daughter. Marcus Chin. You have completed the trials. Your bond has been tested and found genuine. But before it can be formally recognized, you must both answer one final question. In each other's presence. With complete honesty. She looked at me first. Marcus Chin. If this bond proves too difficult, if the complications we have discussed become unbearable, if you find yourself unable to adapt to our ways, will you have the strength to walk away? To release SHY from this bond rather than trap her in something that brings more pain than joy? The question hit like a physical blow. Yes. If staying means hurting her more than helping her, I'll walk away. Even if it destroys me. The Queen turned to SHY. Daughter. If Marcus proves unable to adapt, if his human nature makes him incompatible with your responsibilities, if this bond brings him suffering rather than fulfillment, will you have the strength to release him? To let him return to his people even though it wounds you? SHY's voice was steady, but I heard the pain beneath. Yes. If staying means destroying who he is, I will let him go. Even if it breaks me. The Queen looked between us. Good. You both understand that true bond means being willing to sacrifice the bond itself for each other's well-being. This is wisdom. This is maturity. She raised all four arms. The trials are complete. Marcus Chin has stood with honor. SHY has claimed with truth. The bond is recognized. From this moment, Marcus Chin is formally acknowledged as bond partner to the third royal daughter. All rights, protections, and responsibilities that entails are granted. The council rose as one, acknowledging the declaration. SHY crossed the space between us and took both my hands in hers. We did it, she whispered. We did it. I agreed. The Queen approached. There will be a formal ceremony. Announcements. Political maneuvering. Complications. But for now, you have earned this moment. Take it. She left, the council following. The guards remained but turned their backs, giving us privacy. SHY pulled me close, all four arms wrapping around me. I was so afraid, she admitted, that you would fail. That I would fail. That this would all fall apart. But it didn't. No. Because you are stubborn. And brave. And ridiculously honest. Is that good? It is everything. She pulled back enough to look at me. We will face difficulties. Our peoples will question this. Politics will complicate everything. But we will face it together. Together. I agreed. She touched her forehead to mine, a gesture of intimacy among her people. My husband, she said softly. That is what I will call you. What you are now, by our law and custom. Husband. I like that. I smiled. Wife seems too simple for you. What should I call you? Bond partner is formal. Mate is accurate. But among my people, those closest use simply a name. Call me SHY. Nothing more. Nothing less. Just myself. SHY. I said, testing how it felt. It felt right. We stood there, holding each other, in the quiet aftermath of everything. No storm outside, no immediate crisis. Just two people from different worlds who had found each other in the dark and refused to let go. What happens now? I asked eventually. Now we begin. The real work of building a life together. Of learning each other. Of proving that this bond is not just survival but choice. She smiled. And first we eat. You must be starving. Actually, yeah? She laughed, the sound like crystal chimes. Come. Let me introduce you to proper Casteri cuisine. The food they brought before was simplified for human digestion. The real food is much better. Should I be worried? Terrified. But you will love it anyway. She led me out of the chamber, her hand warm in mine. Guards fell into step around us, but they felt less like jailers now and more like protection. Like family. We emerged into a corridor filled with sunlight filtered through crystal. Other Casteri passed, and I saw their reactions. Curiosity. Some disapproval. But also, in a few faces, something like hope. Maybe we were proof that bridges could be built. That differences could be overcome. That bonds could form in unexpected ways and survive against odds. Or maybe we were just two people who had kept each other warm in the dark and decided that was worth building on. Either way, I was exactly where I wanted to be. SH Vera glanced at me, caught my expression. What are you thinking? That I'm glad the storm hit. That I found that structure. That you were there. Even with all the complications? Especially with the complications. They led me to you. Humans. So sentimental. Kesteri. So practical. We balance each other well, I think. I think so too. We reached the dining hall, and SH Vera pulled me inside. Whatever food awaited, whatever challenges tomorrow brought, we would face them. Together. As equals. As bond partners. As husband and wife in the way that mattered most to both of us. By choice, not accident. By understanding, not convention. By love that had grown from warmth shared in darkness into something neither of us had expected but both of us would fight to keep. The cuddling had been for survival. Everything after was choice. And I would choose SH Vera, every day, for as long as my shorter human life allowed. She deserved nothing less. And somehow, against all odds, I had become someone who deserved her too.